Listen closely, because this could save you hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars this year. Every day, I meet seniors who are quietly paying bills they do not legally owe, not because they made a mistake, but because no one ever told them they had another option. Just last month, I spoke with Mrs. Lan, 76. She'd been paying an old credit card bill that was over 10 years old. A debt collector had told her she had to, or else. But legally, that debt had already expired. She could have walked away with nothing owed. The saddest part is, she's not alone. Here's the quiet truth. Many companies, banks, and even hospitals count on you not knowing your rights. They hope that if they send a letter, or use big words, or throw in a deadline, you'll pay. And I understand. You were raised in a time when a bill meant a promise, when paying your dues was a matter of pride. But the world has changed. And in that change, too many seniors are getting caught, overpaying, being misled, or carrying weight they no longer need to. I'm here today not just as a lawyer, but as someone who spent years helping older clients untangle messes that never should have happened. In this video, I'll gently walk you through 8 types of bills that seniors often don't need to pay, from medical charges and expired debts to hidden bank fees and insurance policies that no longer make sense. I'll share real stories, explain your legal protections, and give you simple, doable ways to start lifting the burden. And at the end, I'll reveal the one bill almost no one talks about, but that I believe every senior should double check this week. It's something that's quietly draining money from too many homes. So if you're a senior, or you care about one, tap like so this reaches someone who needs it. And in the comments, tell me, what's the bill that's been bothering you lately? Now let's begin with the most common trap I see: unfair medical bills that were denied by insurance, but that you can still fight. 1. Denied medical bills you can appeal. Evelyn, 74, opened her mail one afternoon and saw a letter that made her heart drop. It was a $200 bill for a hospital stay her doctor had said was necessary. Her insurance had denied the claim, calling it not medically necessary. Evelyn panicked. She lived on Social Security. She'd never owed that kind of money before. For days, she didn't sleep. Here's what many seniors don't know. Most medical bill denials are not final. They're often based on clerical errors, missing paperwork, or vague language that can absolutely be challenged. The system counts on you not fighting back, but you can. In my years as a lawyer, I've helped dozens of seniors appeal denied claims successfully. One study even found that up to 80% of medical bill appeals are overturned, but only if someone takes the time to ask. That's your quiet power. Start by calling your insurer and asking for a written explanation of the denial. Don't accept vague phrases like not covered or not necessary. You deserve clarity. Then, call your doctor's office and ask them to resubmit the claim with stronger documentation. Most providers are used to doing this and will help. If the appeal is denied again, go one level higher. Every insurer has multiple appeal tiers. And if needed, you can even contact your state's insurance department. Many have special units just for helping seniors. Evelyn did this. With help from her daughter and a local legal aid clinic, she appealed. 6 weeks later, the full $10,200 was cleared. No collections, no hit to her credit, just relief. And if your bill has already gone to collections, don't panic. Many hospitals offer financial hardship waivers for seniors. All you need to do is ask. You're not being difficult by questioning a denial, you're being wise. And that wisdom can protect your money and your peace. If you've ever had a medical bill denied, tell me in the comments, did you challenge it? Would you next time? Someone reading might need your courage. Now, let's talk about another kind of bill that may not belong to you anymore, even if collectors say otherwise. 2. Debt that's too old to be collected. Martha was 78 when she got the letter. A debt collection agency claimed she owed $1,150 on an old credit card from over a decade ago. The letter looked official. It used bold legal terms. It even threatened a lawsuit. She almost pulled out her checkbook until her neighbor, a retired nurse, told her to call me first. Here's what I want every senior to know. Just because someone says you owe a debt doesn't mean you legally do. Debt has an expiration date. It's called the statute of limitations. And once it passes, you cannot be sued for that debt. In most states, credit card and medical debts expire between 3 to 6 years, though it can vary by type and location. Martha's debt? Over 11 years old. The collectors were banking on her fear, on her instinct to do the right thing, even when the law said she didn't have to. Let me be clear. Debt collectors can still call. They can send scary letters, but they cannot force you to pay on a debt that's legally expired. And if you say the wrong thing, like, yes, I remember that account, you might accidentally restart the clock. Here's what I tell my clients to do. First, never confirm the debt is yours over the phone. Instead, ask for a debt validation letter. They're required by law to provide proof. Then, check the dates. If it's outside your state's statute of limitations, send a written cease and desist letter. That stops the calls and protects your rights. Emotionally, this is about more than money. It's about dignity. No one should feel threatened for something they no longer legally owe. And yet many older women, especially widows, carry a quiet guilt over old bills, even when the law is on their side. It breaks my heart. And yes, you can do this too. Just one phone call or letter could take that fear off your shoulders for good. If you've been contacted about an old debt, let me know in the comments. How did you handle it? Or just write, I'm learning. That alone may help another woman feel seen. Now, what about bills you're still paying, month after month, that may no longer be needed at all? Let's talk about that next. 3. Life insurance you no longer need. Evelyn is 76. She's a widow. Her kids are grown, married, and doing well. Yet every month, she was quietly paying $162 for an old life insurance policy she first signed up for in her 40s. When we sat down together, I asked her one question. Who still needs this protection? She paused, then said, I guess no one. Here's the truth most insurance companies won't tell you. If no one relies on your income and you've already covered funeral costs, you might not need that policy anymore. You may be paying thousands every year for peace of mind that's no longer necessary. I've worked with dozens of women who thought canceling a life policy meant giving up or leaving their family with nothing. But sometimes, keeping a policy out of guilt costs more than it helps. You have options. You can cancel. You can ask about switching to a smaller, cheaper burial policy. And in some cases, you can even sell the policy for cash. Legally, there's no penalty for ending a private life insurance policy if it no longer serves your needs. You are allowed to change your mind, to say, I've done my part, now I need to care for myself. Evelyn canceled hers. She used the savings to replace the roof she'd been worrying about for years. You can do this too. One small change makes a big difference. If this sounds like you, I'd love to hear. What would you do with that extra $150 a month? Now, let's look at another sneaky place your money may be disappearing without you even realizing. 4. Subscriptions. You forgot you're paying. When Ruth, 79, showed me her credit card statement, she was almost embarrassed. I think I'm still paying for Disney Plus, she said, laughing softly. We checked. Not just Disney, also a magazine app, a gym membership she hadn't used since 2019, and an audiobook service. 14 recurring charges, most under $15, but together nearly $110 a month. This happens more than you'd think, especially for seniors. $12 here, $9 there. It slips under the radar. Companies design it this way: quiet, automatic, and forgettable. And let's be honest, many older women were raised in a time when we paid bills by check, one by one. Autopay changed the rules, but it didn't come with warnings. Here's the fix. Check your bank and credit card statements every month. Look for names you don't recognize. You can also use apps like Rocket Money or Truebill, or ask a trusted family member to help. As a lawyer, I've seen subscriptions eat into grocery budgets, silently. This isn't carelessness. It's intentional design meant to wear you down. You deserve to feel in control, not confused about where your money's going. What would you do with an extra $100 this month? Next, let's talk about something even more frustrating: when you're hit with fees from the bank that shouldn't have been charged in the first place. 5. Property tax breaks you may qualify for. Elaine, 72, had lived in her little blue house for nearly 40 years. One morning, she called me in tears. Her property taxes had jumped again, and she didn't know how she'd cover both the payment and her medications. I asked, "Have you ever applied for a senior exemption?" She paused, then said, "No one told me I could." This happens more than you think. Many older homeowners are quietly overpaying their property taxes year after year simply because no one mentioned they could ask for a break. Here's what I want you to know. Most states offer property tax exemptions or reductions for seniors, especially those over 65, on fixed incomes or with disabilities. Some counties freeze your tax rate. Others reduce the taxable value of your home. And in some places, you can even apply for back refunds if you qualified in the past but didn't file. I have helped women like Elaine cut their annual bill in half just by filling out a simple form. Legally, you don't need to keep paying more than you owe, just because you didn't know the rules. That's not your fault. But now you know. If you own your home, call your county assessor's office. Ask, "Do you offer senior property tax relief?" And don't stop until you get a clear answer. Elaine applied. She got approved. And that extra $100 this year, it paid for the new water heater she thought she couldn't afford. You can do this too. One small phone call can lift a weight you've been carrying far too long. Now, let's talk about another set of bills that can feel like they never stop: your monthly utilities. 6. Utility discounts and assistance programs. Last winter, my client Joyce, 68, showed me her electric bill. It had doubled since the year before, she whispered. "I've been turning off the heat during the day, just using blankets." My heart broke. No one should have to freeze in their own home just to keep the lights on. What Joyce didn't know, and what many seniors don't, is that most utility companies offer discounts, deferred payment plans, and emergency help for older adults. If you're over 60 or living on Social Security, you may qualify for programs that reduce your electric, gas, and water bills by 25% or more. There's also LIHEAP, a federal program that helps low-income seniors with energy costs. Some states even provide free home weatherization, like new insulation or window sealing, to permanently lower your bills. But here's the catch. These programs aren't automatic. You have to ask. And many women, like Joyce, never knew they could. From a legal point of view, you have the right to request help when your income is limited. Utilities are essential, not luxuries. You deserve warmth, light, and running water without fear. Joyce made 2 calls to her electric company and the local community action center. She qualified for a winter discount, got her past due balance erased, and was placed on a budget plan to spread payments evenly. You can ask too. One conversation could change your entire season. Let's keep going. In the next section, we'll uncover the hidden bank fees you might be paying and how to stop them with just one confident call. 7. Credit card and bank fees. That can be waived. Martha called me last spring, frustrated after seeing a $35 late fee on her credit card. She said softly, "It was 2 days late. I've never missed a payment before." And yet the bank didn't warn her. They just added the charge. She felt punished, not protected. But here's what many seniors don't know. Most credit card and bank fees can be waived if you ask. Late fees, overdraft charges, monthly maintenance fees. These can quietly drain your savings. Banks count on silence. But legally, you're allowed to question every charge and request a reversal, especially if it's a first-time issue or you've been a long-time customer. I always tell my clients, you are not a bother, you are a valued client. And banks would rather keep your trust than lose your business. When Martha called, she was nervous, but she followed the steps. She stayed calm, mentioned her clean history, and asked for a one-time courtesy waiver. The rep removed the fee in under 2 minutes. That moment mattered. Not just for the $35, but for what it restored. Her sense of control. If you've been quietly paying fees you didn't expect, it's time to speak up. You can do this too. One small conversation can protect your money and your dignity. Now, let's turn to something heavier. Funeral expenses. And why you may not need to prepay as much as you think. 8. Funeral costs you don't have to prepay. I once sat with a woman named Darlene, 74, who had just signed a $9,000 prepaid funeral plan. She told me, "I didn't want to be a burden." But when we reviewed the fine print, we found hidden fees, non-refundable deposits, and services she hadn't even requested. She felt trapped. Here's the truth. Many seniors are pressured into paying upfront for funeral packages they don't actually need, and that may not even be used. Salespeople often use fear and guilt to rush decisions. But from a legal perspective, you have more flexible, protective options. One of the best tools I recommend? A payable on death, PO'd account. You can set aside money in your bank, name a trusted person, and that money transfers instantly upon your passing. No probate, no delays, no pressure. You can also explore direct cremation, which costs a fraction of traditional services. And if you're a veteran, burial benefits may already be available to you at no cost. I tell my clients this gently but firmly. You do not owe thousands today to protect your family tomorrow. You owe yourself peace and informed choices. Darlene ended up canceling her plan. She created a small pod account instead, talked openly with her daughter, and felt lighter almost instantly. You have options. You are not a burden. You still have time to choose what feels right. Let's move forward now to one last area where money often slips away without notice, your HOA fees, and how you may be able to reduce them with just a few steps. We've talked about medical bills, old debts, insurance, fees, taxes, and how to take back control. These aren't just numbers on a page. They're moments of your life, little decisions that deserve clarity and care. You weren't raised in a world of apps and auto billing. It's okay to pause and ask questions. To say, "I want to understand this before I pay it." That's not confusion. That's wisdom. You still have choices, and your calm, your money, your dignity, they matter. I see too many seniors giving up not because they want to, but because they think they have to. You don't. Please share this with someone you love. And in the comments, tell us, what bill are you going to look at again? You never know who your story might help. I'm not just a lawyer. I'm someone who believes your peace should never be a monthly sacrifice.